Good morning, Brazen. Set my alarm bright and early this morning. Made sure I got in the shower before this video started. So today we got two parts again, similar to last week. Again, we're going to start with a 10-minute alternating on the minute with 30 seconds of work and then 30 seconds of rest. The first movement, backpack high pulls. The second movement, backpack floor press. So I personally use the same exact backpack with the same amount of weight from last week. Now, you might start doing these or warm up with them and feel like it's light and you can go heavier, but if you've been following along and continue to follow along, we had a lot of pushing yesterday in our 250 burpees, and then tomorrow we have a lot of pushing as well. Montana's going to run us through a handstand push-up progression. So today is more about just being able to move well, and a lot of times when we have lighter loads, it's almost, you can get away with moving poorly. So today, let's really focus on our movements. I'll go over those in a second. And then we're gonna rest as needed. And then we have 5 rounds every 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 4 Turkish get-ups with our right arm. Then we're gonna go immediately on to a 45-second wall sit. It's prescribed as wall sit with our arms overhead. Now, when I did this workout, I did this before this part, I forgot about the overhead part until round 4, and then I started to do it. But while I was doing it, I noticed that in order to keep your core engaged and your ass against the wall, it's a lot more difficult with your hands overhead. So I started to experiment and just figure out what really needed to happen for me to keep everything engaged with my hands overhead. So throughout the 5 rounds, I don't care if you go overhead or not, but at least mess around with it and just maybe alternate every 10 seconds, hands overhead, 10 seconds down, and just feel the difference and identify like what happens when you put your hands over your head, and why does it make it more difficult to keep your core completely engaged. So you have the 4 Turkish get-ups at the right, 45-second wall sit, and then we're coming back to 4 Turkish get-ups at the left. Now, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I did the first 2 rounds, finished, but I finished kind of right on the dot. So if you're super efficient with your Turkish get-ups, feel free to continue at 4, but don't sacrifice moving well for moving fast just to get it done in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I'd rather you scale this down to 3, scale that down to 3, maybe even keep those at 4 and scale the wall sits down to 30 seconds. Mess around with it. Come round 3, 4, and 5. I scaled the Turkish get-ups down to 3 reps, but now that I think about it, I probably wish I stayed at 4 and scaled that to 30 seconds. So it's totally up to you. Now I'm gonna go over these 2, but for the Turkish get-ups, I'm gonna push you guys towards another video on YouTube. So I feel like it's important that you hear things from people other than just us. And you know, with the internet today, there's stuff everywhere and you don't really know who to listen to or what information is truly valuable. So Marcus Filly influences the way I program for myself. He has a heavy influence on the style that Jeff has created. So Marcus Filly has a great Turkish get-up tips. I think it's Turkish get-ups tips with Marcus Filly. I think that's the YouTube title. It's about 4 minutes. So before you start this workout, watch that video. That is a reputable source. All right. But for the high pulls and the floor press, so I'm going to use the same backpack. And in my high pulls, I want to lead with my elbows, but I want to keep my shoulders down. So the first thing that happens, I don't want to shrug up. I want to keep my shoulders down and lead with my elbows, activating my delts. All right, so let's avoid shrugging. Instead, keep those shoulders down, lead up with the elbows. Shoulders stay in that same spot the whole time. For the floor press, camera angle is kind of weird, but I just grab my bag like so. And think about it like a push-up. Yesterday, if your arms were on fire during those burpees, it probably was because our push-ups are a little inefficient. So let's keep our elbows tight, elbow pits facing forward, although when you're upside down, they'll be facing backwards. And do the same with the floor press. Just focus on that movement. The backpack's not going to be that heavy, but make sure we move well for 30 seconds. This first part is a nice little shoulder warm up for this second part. All right. All right. If you're ready, keep going. If not, pause. We're going to start the workout in a little bit.
All right, homies. We got 10 minutes alternating on the minute, but just like last week, I'm going to set the clock for 10 rounds, 30 seconds of work, 30 seconds of rest. We got the backpack high pulse first, followed by the backpack floor press. Here it goes, 8 seconds. All right, remember the backpack doesn't have to be heavy. We just want to focus on proper movement. So on those high pulls, we're keeping our shoulders down, still leading with our elbows, but try not to shrug. And on those floor press, let's try to keep our core engaged, lower back flush on the ground. Externally rotate, get those elbow pits facing behind us. Remember, backpack doesn't have to be heavy, let's focus on the movement. Healthy shoulders. So I'm not playing any music for 2 reasons. One, because this is the only device I have, so I can't play music while also using this app. And 2, because people don't always like my music choices. rounds down. 5 to go. This is a great workout to just really be aware of how you move. Sometimes it's harder to focus on proper movement when we use lighter loads, because you can kind of get away with moving poorly. So use this as a time to really hone in on your kinesthetic awareness. If you really want to find some of your shoulder imbalances, or find one of them, do these high pulls with the backpack. Maybe you lighten the load a little bit if you're going heavy. But after this workout, or tomorrow morning, or whenever you're feeling it, do those high pulls single arm. So do one arm at a time, and identify the differences. What do you feel different doing from the left to the right? All right, I think that was 8, so we got 2 more. 1 more high pull, 1 more floor press. Oh. All right, last 30 seconds coming up before we take a quick rest and move on to the Turkish get-ups and wall sits. That one's gonna be a little bit spicier. Gonna take a short break just to reset the clock, and we'll be right back with that second pod. And we're back, just like that. So we got 5 rounds every 2 minutes and 30 seconds, 4 Turkish get-ups with our right arm, 45-second wall sit, back to 4 Turkish get-ups with our left arm. Then you have the remainder of the time to rest. We're going through that 5 times. If you're not ready, hit pause. If you're ready, 6 seconds. These lights are so bright. Lying on the floor, every time I get up, I'm seeing dots. Trying to make out that clock. I think I'm stopping at a minute. All right. That took 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We're gonna go on a fly here. Scale this down to 3 Turkish get-ups. But I'm doing this workout before I make the first part of this video. So you'll have already known that. Actually, fuck it, we're doing 4. I'm using this backpack so that I can see the clock. Fuck, that was slower? How was that slower? Oh my god. I can't tell what it says. I should get some sunglasses. All right, I think that was 45 seconds. Oh, here we go. we're actually going to scale to 3 because the number doesn't really matter. It's the quality of our movement. It's going to make us better. In order to finish that, you really have to rush these Turkish get-ups. So we're going to slow it down. Just make sure we get 3 quality get-ups on each arm. But again, you all already know this because this was filmed before the explanation. Again though, I think that says 40. Fuck. So I'll go till 55. I think. I still can't even see it. This can't be good for my eyes. Oh, I completely forgot. These are... I don't care. Alright, that was better. Didn't feel like I had to rush it. Got a 15-second rest. We got 2 rounds left. I'm gonna stick to 3 and 3. Keep looking directly at that light. Can't stop now though. Alright. So we'll go to a minute. I have a hard time truly engaging my core when I put my hands over my head against the wall. You guys feel a difference? I feel like I'm leaning back into my upper back as opposed to my legs. So honestly, I just forgot, but one more. I lost count. I don't know if this is 3 or 4. See you next Wednesday.